find it ridiculous as well, because like the first few episodes to build the whole plot is just so unrealistic that I had to like really, really suspend my inner critic. Like, this would never happen to anybody. Okay, just like...
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. But that isn't that like that with all TV? Like every TV, you know, it just wouldn't happen like that ever.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where because they're trying to drive a plot, like somehow any event ever always happens to the protagonist. And it's just like, this would never happen.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm just going to interject here and just say this is the Halcyon Frequency podcast, and I'm your host, Blind, and I'm gonna let you continue that thought in a second. We'll continue the Netflix show talk in a moment, but I would just like to take a moment to kind of say hello to everybody and say thank you very much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. This is our fourth episode for February 6th. 2022, I think that's the year. So I'm just going to pass this off to Jess. How are you doing today?
I'm very animated today. How are you?
I mean, I have a cup of coffee and I just ate a lemon loaf. 2D Kiri, who's also in the recording today. How's your day been going?
My day has been very busy, filled with work, but also productive, so it feels good.
Yay. And FG?
Yeah, I have not had a busy day today because I did not stream today because we had house things to do today. And I'm moving in like 3 weeks and I'm like, ah!
That's just a bundle of stress.
Yeah, pretty much. Correct.
Welcome to my life.
No, I don't want to. But finally, once we've moved, it's all over.
I have there's the slight possibility that I might be moving next year, and I'm already dreading it, and I'm easily like a year and a half out still. So
I'm just dreading taking apart my setup and putting it back together, and something just not working or breaking or something.
I can feel that. Yeah.
Take out your graphics cards, put them in a separate box.
I recommend getting like those plastic bins and then just like layer everything between bubble wrap or towels or something and just like put it all into a plastic bin and then put it in a car.
Well, luckily we're moving like 3 miles down the road, so not too much can go wrong.
That's good.
You know, it's not like it's like, you know, hundreds of miles. And so far my computer has survived being moved from one country to the other. So all good. But yeah, I'll definitely, you know, once we get it set up and then open it up real quick and make sure everything is seated correctly and whatnot. But talking about iZombie real quick, I no spoilers, but I like the start of that show. And then it goes so completely off the rails that it just got absolutely ridiculous and dumb.
I think
that's all I'm going to say about it. No. Like, I think it's the end of season 2 where it starts, and it just gets like you ain't seen nothing yet.
What direction does it go off the rails?
I really like it
because I've only seen ads for this show.
Well, I don't want to spoiler it for Jess.
Yeah, but okay. So when you say it goes off the rails, does it go in like an absurdist kind of direction? Does it just get like okay? I might be sold on this.
Yeah,
show
but it's funny.
Okay. Jess,
I just checked. So I almost finished season 3, and then we just stopped because other things were more interesting. But we really liked it. Like the humor is just amazing.
Maybe I need to
yeah, that's where it starts with, and then just cover your ears. I'm gonna for 10 seconds or something. Yeah. Yes. Literally at one point in time, they're like this close to nuking the entire city of Seattle.
So what?
Because
nothing of value is lost. We should do that right now, frankly. Get rid of Facebook while we're at it.
It just gets so dumb. Can somebody give a thumbs up to Jess so she can unmute again?
I feel left out.
Yeah, you're safe. You're safe. It's all good. No, it just gets really, really, really like it goes too far in my opinion.
I liked it.
Like for me, I like the start. I like the characters. I like the main character, and I like
humor, the writing. It's so witty.
It is funny, but then it just goes off the rails. It goes too far for me.
Yes, I think you're very brave for watching a zombie show.
Well, so this one's not bad because it's not about being scared. It's something about I don't know. I haven't quite.
Friendly zombies, mostly.
Yeah, mostly. But the whole reason I brought this up is because like we're talking about brain cells doing Pong and everything, and so it's just like it made me think of this show that I've been binge watching all week because I haven't been feeling very well. So I've just been like, I am a zombie. Let me watch this show that Netflix has been pushing at me for so long.
To be fair, I think. Sorry, no, I didn't want to interrupt you. Go.
I was just going on a random tangent. Just say what you were going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think one of the major plot points of iZombie is that humans are the real monsters. Period. I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
In regards to the human brain cells playing Pong, that's one of my 2 favorite scientific facts of the week. I always like find a few random things and then just like regurgitate them for the next like 2 weeks. And the my 2 favorite scientific facts right now are they've trained human brain cells to play Pong, and hamsters can drink 1.5 liters of Everclear a day and not feel any side effects, and will drink straight vodka.
Dude, my entire chat talked about that for like days on end. I'm like,
okay,
what? Come on.
You're welcome. Long story short, hamsters need to survive the winter, but they don't hibernate, so their food rots naturally. So their bodies are designed to eat fermented foods. And scientists have realized that they can consume more alcohol than any other known animal on Earth. To the point where they can drink 1.5 liters of Everclear per day and not even stagger.
Impressive.
Which is a hot alcohol, by the way.
Which is like 99%. It's like undiluted
you can
vodka.
clean with it, basically. But
Yeah,
wow.
it's like I use that to clean my pipe. Like it's
Yeah, it's pretty mental.
it's amazing.
I wonder what sort of implications that has, like medically, and how that could be used. That's so interesting.
It means that if you have extra Everclear and you run out of water, you could give it to your hamster? I don't know if it has any useful things. To me it's just kind of incredible because hamsters are apparently my spirit animal. I never knew that.
But can you drink that much Everclear and be completely fine?
No, I would like a human would die. If you drank 1.5 liters of Everclear,
oh God, yeah, no.
That
Don't
does
do that.
not sound healthy.
like I don't think I could do that in 6 months.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
You probably
That
also
is
shouldn't.
Not good. No, you should not.
You can dilute it and use it in like tinctures and stuff, but it's like it's not something
Do
you
not
should be drinking.
ingest it. Do not ingest it. Wise words only here on the Halcyon Frequency Podcast.
How did we get here? Brain cells, zombie shows. I mean, I could talk about the thing I've been watching on Netflix recently.
Video games.
That 4th season of Ozark's amazing.
Haven't seen that show at all.
If you want a
What is it
good
about?
crime
Neither.
drama, it's a really good crime drama.
Oh no, I'm kind of over those.
It's like
I have to
it's like
admit.
halfway between crime drama and halfway between like family slapstick comedy, but like dark comedy. So it's entertaining.
Sounds good.
It's just because there's like points by season 4 where like no spoilers, but like the dad's just like so done with everything that he's like, oh, my kid's laundering money. Okay, whatever. It's just like just
All right.
doesn't even blink. It's just the way they interact by the time season 4 rolls around is just kind of incredible. It's a fun show.
We
Love
finally
crime dramas.
finished all of the Expanse.
Great show.
Yeah.
Great show. I was so sad when The Expanse ended that I immediately went and found another sci-fi show and watched all of The Silent Sea, which is another good show. Only 8 episodes though, very short.
Haven't heard of that one.
It's a Korean sci-fi show. The
Gotcha.
basic elevator pitch from the first 5 minutes of it is note actually, if you're scared of if you don't like seeing dogs in pain, don't watch that show. But
Noted.
it starts off with just like all of the oceans are dried up. Your entire rank in society and everything that you earn is based on the water card that you have, which says how many liters of water you can get per week. And so that's Earth. Earth is a nightmare. There's no water left. Everybody's dying. Nobody's allowed to have pets. They're shooting dogs in the streets. Illegal pets are just getting rounded up and used as food, regardless of what they are. All animals are dead, except for ones in captivity, which are now illegal. And there's something on the moon. And there's something in a research lab on the moon, and everybody died up there due to radiation. And they are sending like 8 scientists and a couple like mercs up there to go see what they were studying. That's the whole pitch of the show. And it's 8 episodes. One and done.
This is The Expanse?
No, this is The Silent Sea.
Oh, right. Okay, I will not be watching that. Okay.
The Expanse is a like Cold War story between Earth and Mars, and it's great.
And the belt. But yeah. No, The Expanse is great. And I know some people, like, no spoilers, complain about the end, but I think it's actually a very fitting end. For the show.
It's
I
really
liked
difficult
it.
for me to say anything about the end of The Expanse without spoilers. It's
Without
the best
spoiling,
ending
yeah.
they could have done with what they had, considering
Everything, yes.
there's still more that they haven't done.
Yeah,
What,
but
was it
I
canceled?
feel...
Yes, no, yes? Sort of?
Sort of. Yeah, sort of. Like,
been
it's based on a
canceled
book series. And the book series is like, what, 9 novels now, I think?
Yeah.
Or 8 or something. And it's really expensive to make. That's the biggest problem with the Expanse, because you have to shoot things in space and you have to like simulate like no gravity and crap like that, and you know, for a lot of scenes and all that sort of stuff. So they ended the story a little bit earlier and a little bit differently than in the book, because they had to fire one of the actors for being a creep as well. But I kind of like that it is sort of a closing arc, but it's the overall arc is not yet resolved. Like, there's still potential.
There's a point where one of the main characters looks at another one and goes, "Man, we never found out what happened with that thing."
Yeah,
bluntly states that. And it's just like, man, I wish you found out what happened with that thing.
Yeah,
But-
it kind of goes like, there's like still this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and
Allegedly,
this to
they're
do.
signing movie deals, so they might do the Star Trek thing, where there's just
maybe,
3
yeah.
movies. So they could just do
maybe.
direct to Prime movies. That would be fine.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, or they're doing. I mean, we are already getting the first Expanse game, so maybe we'll just get more. I'll be down for that too.
Who's making?
Yeah,
the
they're
Expanse
making
game?
a Telltale one about drama.
Cool.
About it. Yeah, it's
I mean,
pretty cool.
she's great. Drummer's
Yeah,
great.
she's a cool character. Yeah, she is.
Drummer is the only character in a TV show that has made me legitimately jump out of my chair and fist pump in the past couple of years.
She's cool.
Like,
She's badass. Yeah.
she's turned around and just done a thing, shot a person, stabbed somebody. It's like, yes, go Drummer.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, she's cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that game, actually. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, they announced it at E3 last year.
Somehow I missed that. Anyway, since we're talking about video games, I think I'm just going to take us real quick to a short break here. And then when we come back in a couple of minutes, we are going to talk about the games that we have been playing this past week. So I know you were just listening to my voice, and so this might be a little bit strange, but let me just pitch you on something really quickly. This podcast is connected to a stream team, and this stream team has a Discord server. It is the Halcyon Frequency Community Discord server. If you're listening to this and you're not in that server, go over to our website, halcyonfrequency.com, and grab that Discord link. It is in the bottom left of the website, and it has some servers where you could play some Project Zomboid with us, or take part in the community, or maybe just look for a group. You could also ask some questions or discuss podcast topics in the according rooms. Some cool things there, including some features as to find out exactly when we're about to go live. I recommend it. Check it out. Let's get on with the show. Hope you enjoyed that quick break. And once again, you're listening to the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. And we're going to talk about some games that we've been playing this week. So I have one, but I think I'll keep mine for the end because it's pretty short. So FG, do you want to take this since yours is the next on the list?
Sure. I'm just gonna do all of my. Okay. I'm just gonna do all of mine. The first 2 are pretty short. So going back to not last episode, but the episode before that, I already talked about Expeditions Rome a little bit. Finished it finally. Really good CRPG. Took me over 60 hours to finish. We watched 3 of the 7 different endings that game has. And that game is just absolutely amazing. And you should all play it. That's what I'm going to say about Expeditions Rome.
Hell yeah.
I already made this joke, but I'll make it again. I didn't know CRPGs had endings.
Yeah. I know, but
I don't believe I've ever seen an ending of a CRPG, actually. I know that they have endings. That's just I've never finished one.
It really helped to stream it that it was completely voice acted, and it had the Twitch integration that made it really fun and engaging for people. So they got the story told, but they could influence the story as well, which was really good.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Agreed.
Yeah. And there was a lot of fire. A lot of fire.
So much fire. Yes.
Everything burned.
So much.
Rome did also burn. Yes. In my playthrough, Rome did also burn.
In my playthrough, chat had me murder people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is primeval, as per usual.
Yeah.
I mean, Cleopatra does not exist in my playthrough anymore. That's all I'm saying about that.
Doesn't exist in real life either.
Well, yeah, but she never actually rose to power in my playthrough.
Good riddance.
For reasons. Yeah. Do we want to take it in turns, or do I just keep going? Are we gonna do it?
I don't know. Kiri, do you want to talk about Pokemon Legends?
Yes.
Go nuts.
Yes. Okay, so it's been years since I played my last Pokemon, and that was X. I don't know when that came out, actually. But
2014.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I played that when I was in Japan.
When did that
Holy.
happen? Right, yeah, we were talking about that, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
we were
actually.
talking about this, yes, but well, that's a long time. Anyway, and I haven't played the other Pokemon games because it's just, I love them as a kid, but I've grown up, sadly. It's not that great anymore. It's just I played this. It's just I don't know, it's a comfort factor there. But I skip all those other Pokemons. But then last week I went to see friends and they bought the game so I could test it. And then they started talking about how great it is and how different it is. And it's basically, imagine Zelda Breath of the Wild and Pokemon have a baby. That's a new Pokemon game. So it's a open world game. It's in 3D and you just run around everywhere. And Pokemons are just there. And you can run up to them. And if they're aggressive, they attack you and you have to dodge the attacks as your character. It's not like you run through the grass and then you get the music and then it's a combat. No, you can just basically see Pokemons everywhere. And then you can also crouch down and hide in the grass and then hit an unsuspecting Pokemon with a Pokeball. It's really cool.
It's like you're the random encounter now.
Yeah, it actually is.
Cool.
It's really fun. And you also get a Pokemon mount. And probably more cool stuff that I just haven't seen yet because I haven't played that much. But also, you travel back in time and you're on an island where Pokemons are relatively new, or at least people don't know much about them. And you have to complete the Pokédex, but the Pokédex is actually a book. It's not digital. And you have to not just catch a Pokemon, but you have to watch it do a certain attack like 5 times, or you have to catch it while it doesn't see you, or you have to feed it something, and you have to do those actions several times to gain points, really. And only then have you finished the research for that Pokemon and it counts as a full entry. So it's just so much more than the previous games. Also, there are quests now. There are so many side quests. It's really, really fun.
I've heard nothing but good stuff about it.
Yeah, same. You might be convincing me to buy this, and that's not a good thing.
I don't know if they actually added new Pokemons as well. I have honestly no clue, and I missed a couple of... What did you say?
I was going to say, I thought it was a combination of original gen and a few slightly later gens, but not even close to all of them.
Yeah, I don't...
Because it's just that region, right?
What I see from the Pokédex, it's not a lot of them. And there are first-gen Pokemons, and I've seen later ones too, and I've seen some that I just have never seen before. But since I skipped so many Pokemon games, I don't know where they're from or what game they're from. But my favorite Pokemon is in there, so I'm happy.
And what is your favorite Pokemon? Yeah.
Psyduck.
Oh.
It's a Psyduck.
Okay.
I love it.
Psyduck.
Yes, and it always has a headache, right? And as a kid, I just always had a headache. So I could identify with Psyduck so much.
So there's over 900 Pokemon. And this game features 242, according to this website that I just looked up, NintendoLife.com.
And there were like 150 in the original generations, right?
151, right? 151?
Yeah.
151,
I think
yes.
so. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know like 6 Pokemon. My
Yeah,
favorite Pokemon
same.
is Squirtle Gang from the anime because they wear sunglasses.
I see.
Yeah, Squirtles that wear sunglasses and they go around bullying other Pokemon. They were cool.
I just identify with Snorlax, so
I don't play Pokemon.
there we go.
But
Same.
I've been watching some streams of this, and everybody that I've seen streaming it looks like they're having a blast. They look like they're having a lot of fun. But I have a very serious question. Why in the
Okay.
world is this game so ugly?
Well, that is a really good question. Like, it does look like Breath of the Wild,
No, it
but
doesn't,
not
though.
as nice.
It's like Breath of the Wild with ugly terrain and worse like draw distance. Like you can't see as far. The character models don't look as character driven. They don't look as lifelike, I guess.
Why is it not
as-
character driven?
Or the characters don't look as good as they did in Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild's an old game now. It just kind of feels like a side game, which I think it is because it's not like a
Probably
mainline
is,
Pokemon
yeah.
game. And it feels like they gave them the side game budget. And it just
Yeah.
the Pokemon like Nintendo is very, very good at getting the most out of their hardware, right? Like hardware doesn't really matter for Nintendo, but I feel like other studios when they go to make games for Nintendo hardware, maybe they just don't have the same resources or something, or they don't have the same amount of time. I know there was some preview footage of this game that came out like, I don't know, less than a year ago now, maybe getting close to a year ago, where the frame rate for this thing was awful, and it looked even worse. And I kind of feel like this is just like my looking in perspective. It feels like it's a side game that got a side game budget because just the art direction. Like the art direction for the characters looks fine. I like the way the town looks from what I've seen. For me, it's mostly just it's the green environments, it's the grassy areas. Like it looks better
the
in
grass
Monster
doesn't
Hunter.
really look great.
It looks better in
That's true.
Monster Hunter. It looks better in Breath of the Wild. It looks better in basically any Nintendo first party game instead of like. Well,
But
this is
Monster
Game
Hunter's
Freaks,
beautiful, right?
but- yeah, I don't
Can't
know.
really
It's just-
compare it with that. Yeah, I don't know why.
there's just something
is
about
That
it.
is a good
But-
question. Yeah.
Like, you know, graphics don't make games, right? Like, you can have an ugly as hell game, and it plays great. And from what I can tell, this game plays great, and everybody seems to be loving it, so it must be great.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish that they were...
If I had to guess, it's probably because it's such a jump from the norm for them that maybe it's a test to see
Maybe.
how well this is going to be received before they, because graphics are not easy, especially if we're like talking Breath of the Wild. Maybe they just didn't even try, you know, because if they knew it was going to get a Breath of the Wild comparison, this is me just spitballing. Why try to meet that when they could focus efforts elsewhere and see if the game were to succeed?
Like, Genshin Impact on phones looks better.
I'm just spitballing. I'm devil's
I honestly-
advocating.
I honestly can almost like I'm probably kind of sure that this was I think it's probably a combination of what you both said. It's a side game with a side budget, probably the B team working on it rather than the A team. Plus, it also being a test to see if this format of Pokemon games like has an audience and finds an audience. And going by sales figures,
Going by
very
stream
much
numbers.
so.
Going by
Yeah,
the amount
but-
of people in my chat that have been talking about it over the past 2 weeks.
It's
wouldn't be
really
surprised.
good
Got
if
an
it
audience,
received
it
an
looks good, so-
overhaul.
Yeah.
It just might receive like a graphics overhaul in an update.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if they did something like that, but, you know.
I kind of wouldn't.
I hope they make more Pokemon games like this one.
I'd like them to make a sequel to this one and see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because if the Pokemon Company and Game Freaks has any kind of consistent track record, it's reusing stuff. And I look at that and I go, all right, if the sequel looks like this, I don't understand how people won't be upset. But as a standalone game, I don't think that throwing it looks ugly at it, especially considering how underpowered the Switch is. I don't think that that's necessarily a fair argument to like condemn it or anything. So I'm not doing that. I just want to know why. Like why? Why couldn't you have just
basically it'd be nice if it looked better type deal, I think.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see in my mind like a conversation being had by people developing the game that's like, let's do something Breath of the Wild-y, but we can't quite replicate that with our budget, so let's take the story element and the adventure element and just scrap graphics. I could see it.
Maybe they also focused more on gameplay, yeah, gameplay that, you know, style and quest and that sort of stuff, you know, the questing, and made that like the actual interaction more fun, like the actual gameplay, potentially.
Jess, did you have anything you wanted to talk about? I know that Expeditions Rome already got a lot of coverage by FG, and I think you weighed in on that a little bit. But is there anything you wanted to bring up?
I'm still playing the same stuff.
I'm
playing all the same stuff. I finally made it back around to Strange Horticulture because I'm trying to finish that before Tuesday when CK3 drops. And I didn't, but I'm really enjoying that.
Question.
Yes.
Do we have a release time for the DLC?
I don't.
Probably normal Steam time, isn't it? Which means it's after my stream.
I didn't think about it because normally Paradox drops things at like 11 my time.
Which is like perfect.
Yeah. I can look. And
Yeah, that's normal Steam time. So no, that was just that was listeners. That was just a scheduling question for me because that means I have something else to play on Tuesday.
I fully expect that this game is going to like envelop everything for a couple weeks. So I'm trying to get all my other games out of the way before Tuesday, and that's not working out because I streamed very little this week. But you know.
Yeah, they don't have a time
You'll
on
get
the Steam
there.
page. I just looked.
Yeah.
So I'd assume
I have been playing a lot of Vampire Survivors though, and the more that I've played Blind, even less I agree with you.
That's okay.
It's so funny. I wasn't on the last podcast episode, but I listened to it afterwards, and there was this whole discussion about Vampire Survivors, how Blind doesn't really like it, and Jess likes it. It was great to listen to.
Terribly made video game.
I haven't played it myself, and I also haven't watched it because there's just too much stuff moving around.
You know what runs in Chromium?
What?
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, it runs in Chromium.
Oh.
As in like the back end that powers Discord and Chrome web browsers. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Anyway, which means it's not going to scale very well. And they might need to swap engines. But anyway.
I also went and tried Magic Survivors because I brought that up. And for a couple days, it wouldn't load. So I guess they pushed an update. And now I'm able to play it. So it's a mobile game, which I find very infuriating because I have learned I'm awful at touchscreen joysticking. Just completely awful at it. I just keep steering in all the wrong directions.
Does it have Bluetooth controller support?
I have no idea. It's a free game, but the thing that is driving me insane and driving me away from it is that an ad plays whenever, well, not always, but like you'll finish a run and then an ad will play, and I have the game muted, and then the ad's like, bah! And I'm like in bed, Solendra's sleeping, and I'm like, sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry.
That is the fastest way to make me pay for a $1 app. It's just like throw ads at me like 3 times. I'll be like, Tara, I have $2. Go away. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably... I know you just talked about it. But I will probably play Strange Horticulture. That's like on my to-do list from Monday and Tuesday. I hope I can knock it out in that time because it is relatively short, I heard. So hopefully I can get that knocked out then.
It's
but I'm not
taking
sure.
me a while, but I will have to say that I go on so many random tangents that like a judgment for me with how long a game takes is like not accurate.
Same. My community told me that it's about 11-ish hours.
Okay.
Right now,
I'm checking too.
I have 13, and I'm not near the end, so that checks out.
Oh, I've got a bit of a 5.
All right. I'll try my best then.
That's on my maybe list for like a sale in like 6 months. I'll just wait for it to be cheap, grab it, and maybe.
I really enjoyed the demo. I have to say, like I played the demo during one of the Steam Next Fest, and I really enjoyed it.
I was watching some footage of Strange Horticulture, and it reminds me of like I finally realized what the character art reminds me of. It reminds me of Tintin in a good way. So,
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
but I don't know. That's something I'll play.
I am like on the fence with Strange Horticulture. Like, I like the story. I think you're ready to change subjects, but I do have some complaints about the game, which are mostly UI things. Like, it's just some things about it are so clumsy that it just drives me crazy when I'm playing. And
Like what?
So, like, you have the plant shelf, and then you have your desk base. And what just endlessly drives me bonkers is I so wish that they had taken the time to make the shelf and the desk independent. So, like, if you zoom in on the shelf, the desk stays put, because as soon as you enter zoom mode, the whole screen starts to enter mouse scroll mode, side scroll.
Yeah.
And
I've noticed that too, you're right.
it just drives me absolutely insane. And so I just something as simple as that, like just making them two separate elements, and also being able to write in the book. Because there have been, like, they do have a journal of sorts, like on big characters to keep track of them, but like they keep track of some dialogue, not all dialogue, and not everything is recorded as like things you're discovering about plants and just small bits and pieces to this mystery that you're unraveling. And so I found myself being like, I so wish I could write in the book. Like the guide they give you.
I said that a couple of times as well on stream, yeah.
Because you know what was driving me crazy, and probably chat yesterday, was like, okay, I just read about a plant. I just figured out what plant I want. Now I have 40 plants in my book. Which one was it, chat? Which plant was I just talking about? And it just kept adding to it. Like, trying to resolve the same problem I'd already solved because I just forgot.
I get that, yeah.
I suspect I will have the same issue.
Yeah, maybe have your own notepad.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a very good idea.
Now, I have a question. Because it isn't like a desk management and kind of like office simulator, because like I know that the last time we talked about this game, comparisons to Papers, Please came up. Is that an intentional thing by the game, or do you think that that's like something they missed in the UX design?
Which part in particular?
Like for just the UI kind of being intentionally clunky in that matter, where you might want to have your own notepad.
Yeah, I haven't decided.
Okay.
I haven't decided if it's intentional. And
I don't think it is.
Because Papers, Please has a lot of elements to it that are clunky to the point where you want to screenshot your screen to like memorize things and take notes. And I think that that's like to the game's strength to a degree. So I guess I need to play it for myself.
Yeah, but there are just some like small things that it's clunky. Like, for instance, too, you can have like all things out on your desk, but you can't easily cycle through layers. So if you have like your like one device underneath a book, underneath a map, you have to put the map away to move the book, to pull the thing out, put it to the side, pull the map back out, then pull the thing back out, and like restructure things, but you can't just like easily cycle things to the top of the desk. Gotcha. And like if that's intentional, that's just bad design in my opinion.
Yeah, because like Papers, Please, you could have like 11 things on your desk and just click the bottom one, it would pop to the top.
Yep, you can't
just click it once and it just pops up there. Like
unless it's slightly poking through, good. You can do that, but...
Okay. Interesting.
That does sound a bit annoying.
FG, is there any other games you'd like to talk about?
Yes, I have 2. I'm going to make this one very short. I'll talk more about it once I've played more of it. Probably next episode, I assume. Dying Light 2 came out today. So far, I have to say I'm not impressed. I think I played like 3 hours earlier today. So far, let me check real quick. It, in my opinion, looks worse. Like, at least on my hardware. Because I don't have an RTX card. I don't have, like, ray tracing on and that sort of stuff. I saw the videos and it looked really good. On my hardware, even with everything turned up, I feel it looks worse than the first one.
What setup are you running? Just for people who don't know.
1080
like
Ti, i7, 8700K, 32 gigs of RAM.
Damn.
On an SSD.
Okay.
Maybe that's because I haven't really made it that far into the city yet, because you start outside of the city. Had some stutters, and this was with day one patch in as well, because they did say there would be a patch on day one. I had some stuttering. Don't know yet. People have reported that there's a frame rate drop once you get to the city part. So far, that hasn't happened yet to me. The UI is for me absolutely atrocious. It does that thing that sort of the modern RPGs, like the open world, first person RPGs that love to do, is when they make it more immersive by hiding the UI and by hiding like quest markers and all that sort of stuff.
I hate that.
And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's like, no, I want to play a game. Tell me where I need to go. Tell me. I will explore enough of this entire area. I will explore every nook and cranny, but please still tell me where my quest person is, because I'm going to get annoyed if I have to look for whoever I have to turn this quest in for 10 minutes. I'd rather explore on my own terms and not be forced to look for a person for 10 minutes. So yeah, so far I'm not super impressed. Also, the movement is like 10 times floatier than in the first one. The movement felt really solid, but in this one you feel like you're kind of floating over the ground, which I have heard is that they said they made it so because people were complaining about motion sickness or simulation sickness with the first one so much, and this supposedly helps. It feels worse to me. Like, every bit of the movement feels worse to me. You wobble around a lot. Like, there's like head bobbing, and then your hands do the thing where when you're running and you have like your hands directly in front of your face when you're running, like the person that's running around is like swinging their arms like in 180 degrees like fashion, and you just have them flopping around everywhere. It's, I don't know, so far I'm not impressed. I am not impressed.
I did notice that, like when I poked into somebody's stream to watch that, the hands were weird.
Yeah, they remind me every time I have to think about it. It's like oh god, what was it called? I don't know, like of a sketch where somebody is doing like exaggerated running, like like a slapstick sketch. That's what it reminds me of, and every time I see it, it just looks like that. It's really weird. But yeah, I'll report more once I've played more. As I said, I've only played 3 hours, which basically gets you through the tutorial, because there's story bits and exposition and all that sort of stuff that happens. I'll talk more about it next time I'm on here, because by then I should be further into the story and the game and all that sort of stuff.
Are you planning to stream it?
No. I did get the key for free, because I did a sponsored segment for Dying Light 2, but that was not gameplay. That was just like watching stuff about the game before the game came out. It was a co-stream. They gave us the key as a courtesy as well, so I did get the key for free, but I'm not going to stream it.
I was just wondering.
Because the entire directory is full of people streaming it. There's like thousands, tens of thousands of people streaming it. Nope.
I'm looking at a stream now, and it's very, yeah, I can agree with the motion thing.
Yeah,
I didn't have issues watching Dying Light 1, but this one makes me feel wobbly?
Yeah, it's really wobbly.
It
like
does
the character wobbles around a lot. Like,
it does the kind of Tarkov head bob thing where like
Yes,
every
it
time
does.
you turn it like and
Yeah, but that is not the worst thing. It feels like you're not walking on the ground. Like you feel like you're walking on
floating.
something on top of the ground. Yeah, it feels super floaty.
I mean, here's the reality, right? The character that you're playing is a Twitch streamer, and like all Twitch streamers, they had their legs cut off, so they're using a portable hovercraft device.
yeah, I don't know. So
Great
far,
explanation.
Yeah, that's a great. That's
No
a good
streamers
one,
have
yeah.
legs. Come on, don't be silly.
Yeah, correct.
Of course not.
So yeah, so far, not impressed. And this is coming from somebody who has played the first one through 3 times. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll
You're a
see.
fan.
Maybe it gets
Fair to
better.
say. So, FG, you do have a
what's the
little
first
note
one?
here
Yes.
that says Tarkov.
Yes.
So what do you want
Yes.
to tell us about Tarkov?
I didn't mean to talk about Dying Light for that much, but apparently I had to ramble, so I apologize.
Yeah, short for us means, just short.
3
hint.
lines. Like, I'm going to do a short thing on Trials 2 in a minute here.
Yeah, sorry. No, so Escape from Tarkov. I bought the game a couple of years ago when it blew up at the start of the pandemic. Basically, where everybody was like stuck at home and they were like Twitch drops and it went mental on Twitch. But I never really played. But with this wipe, I kind of played, and there were some people in my community that played, and we kind of got into it with them together and whatnot. And then I made that promise in December that I would do a 12-hour stream of Tarkov if we hit 5,000 subs. We did. So I streamed Tarkov for 12 hours last week. And as somebody, as a person that have proclaimed themselves to not like PvP games, I like this game way too much. And I think it is because I'm not the kind of player that goes in and says, all right, I'm going to shoot all the other players and kill and win and get out. For me, it's more like it is a post-apocalyptic setting, which I like. And I have to loot and fight for my survival and get stuff and get out.
I mean,
and then there's PvP like tacked on.
Tarkov isn't about like PvP. It's not directly a PvP game.
No, it's not.
It's a PvE PvP looting survival thing.
Simulator, military sim. Yeah. It's a lot of things.
Well, that sounds
it
nice,
has a lot
though.
of.
I love the concept of Tarkov.
It
and
is.
I bought it quite a bit before you did. I
Yeah.
paid for Tarkov. I could look at my receipt, but I want to say 2018 because I was still playing a lot of RimWorld at the time. And I came to terms pretty quickly that I do not see well enough to play Tarkov. I cannot recognize enemies. I cannot like the Tarkov has a lot of drugs in that game. Like you'll give yourself morphine if you get shot. There's various pills and stuff you can take as well to like calm your character down and things that change the visuals in the game, which makes seeing impossible. They hyper sharpen stuff, and I love those effects. I think that game's really cool, and the stuff that they're doing is amazing. And it's also the best example of what you can do with Unity because that game runs in Unity apparently. And it's like some of those levels are like bloody impressive by all standards. Like it is like a benchmark for like scale in first person games, but it is not playable for me, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I wish it was.
I kind of have the same issue because I am also still struggling with my eyes, trying to adjust to new reality, and they're still on the path to getting better. So I struggle with that as well, for sure. But
the ideas behind it are really cool.
The ideas behind it are really cool. I've kind of accepted that I'll never be good at it. And I'll just play it on my own terms. And playing it with friends has actually been, I've been playing it with community members and with friends. And it's just been really fun playing together. Not even like playing together as a group and like, hunting every player down or something like that. Just playing as this little ratty group of scavengers trying to survive and get across the map and get some loot.
It's good evening of ratting.
Yeah,
Get out there
exactly.
and kill some scavs.
It's been really fun. Though I would like also to report after about, probably 35 hours of playtime this wipe, I did kill my first PMC one-on-one today, so yay. I'm getting better at it.
GG.
Yeah, indeed.
I
Yeah.
totally thought this game was primarily PvP, So I just never cared about it because everyone I watched, but like all the big streamers who play it are so PvP focused that I was like, oh man, this is just another battle royale sim. I didn't even give it the time of day, but now I'm actually looking at it and this sounds really fun.
When you kill people in Tarkov, you can get their dog tags too, and you can see their PMC name on it. So you can actually see who you killed if you got their dog tags. One of
That's
the
cool.
dozen people I've killed is Grimm's.
Nice.
He was running at me with a
awesome.
hatchet,
Yeah.
and I had a shotgun. I just turned around and went bang. I was playing a scav and picked it up and then ran to the exit. And I was like, I don't know who I
cool.
killed. Anyway, yeah, no, it's Tarkov's weird. Tarkov is everything I hate about multiplayer shooters, but also one of the coolest games out there.
Yeah, it's
But-
really cool.
It's a neat thing.
I will probably never be good at it. That's for sure. But it's been fun. And I mean, yeah, your goal is to get loot and to get money and to build out your hideout, which is kind of that survival sim aspect. I mean, you have to eat and drink in the game. Like when you get shot in the stomach, and your stomach is blackened out, you have to do surgery in the stomach, then heal it up, and then you better drink and eat because your stomach is probably empty and you probably don't have any hydration and energy left because your stomach is gone. So it's really involved and interesting. I really hope, or rather, let's say it this way: I wish that once everything is like out, all the maps are out and whatnot, that there's maybe also a branch of it that's a bit more PvE focused.
They're never gonna do that.
I doubt
I'll tell
it
you
too.
that right now. They're never gonna do that.
Yeah.
You should
I
listen to
know.
I don't actually know his name. The lead designer of that game.
I know,
they're never
but
gonna do
I wish that for people, who don't like the PvP stuff.
Play a different game.
But
Go play Stalker Anomaly.
Basically, you want to play a different game. I mean, to be fair, if you want basically a Tarkov but PvE only, you want to play Chernobylite.
Stalker Anomaly. It's free.
Well, yeah, but
It's all three Stalker maps in open world sandbox with no storyline.
Yeah. I mean, Chernobylite, you have the same thing. You go out, do missions to get loot back to your hideout to build it up, but it's PvE only.
Anyway, we've done some talking about games that we'll never be good at, so I'm just going to quickly ramble about a game that came out in 2008 that I'm never going to be good at. I'm a huge fan of Trials, the motorbike games. I don't know. Have any of you played Trials?
No.
Okay, so
I watched Man vs. Gameplay,
Yes.
probably a bajillion hours of it. So.
Man vs. Games Trials streams are legendary, but Trials is made by a small team out of Finland called Red Links, and Trials is it's a 2D platformer where you play as a guy on a dirt bike. And there's Trials 2 second edition, and the first one was a web-based game. It was like a Flash game originally, and then eventually they put it out onto Xbox, same with Trials 2, as Trials HD and Trials 2. Then they got bought by Ubisoft, and they are now a Ubisoft studio, and they've been making Trials games under the Ubisoft banner forever since then. So they've put out Trials of the Blood Dragon, Trials Evolution, there was Trials Rivals, which came out recently, which wasn't very good. And they very slowly over time have just dumbed down the games. They still have the hard levels, but it's much more big show pieces and just driving these motorcycles through these big open areas. And the most recent one, Trials Rivals, actually has loot boxes in it as your main format of progression, and some of the most obnoxious multiplayer integrations that I've ever seen in a video game, and some of the worst UI design I've ever seen in a video game. And I was playing Trials Rivals the other night because it's one of the few Ubisoft franchises that I play, and I was just mad at it because of all of the stuff that they've jammed in there. So I went and spent $10 on Trials 2, which hasn't been on sale in its entire lifetime on Steam, as according to SteamDB. So I just went and bought it. It was $10. Trials 2 is still a very good game. It's as far as Trials goes, the wider franchise, it is so simple compared to those later games. It's not the huge set, you're not riding motorcycles on airplanes, falling into battlefields and then jumping over tanks. You're not doing anything crazy like that. It's all takes place mostly in a warehouse. There is some other environment variation, but it's mostly in a warehouse. And it's just a fantastic physics platformer because the way those games work is like you lean forwards and backwards on your motorcycle and it makes you tip forwards or tip backwards, do a wheelie or flip forwards, and it's all done on like the arrow keys. You can play it with one hand or you can play it with a controller. Very simple games, and there's some beauty to Trials 2 that the later games just completely lose, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like convince anybody to go back and look at Trials 2 anytime soon, but like I think it's just a perfect example about how over monetizing a franchise ruins it. So that's all I wanted to say. Trials 2 is still very good. Also, that soundtrack is metal as all hell. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
There's so few reviews on this for such an old game.
It's 2000. Well, I mean, it's 2008, and it was most of its success came from the web-based version, which I played on Miniclip in like 2008, and the Xbox Live version. It was an Xbox Live Arcade, massive runaway success. Never really took off on PC, but that's until the later games. Evolution did very well on PC, but Trials 2, so much fun. And it's got, like, if you have issues with, like, 3D motion sickness stuff, it has, like, a flat 2D camera perspective. It's still 3D models, but you can play it with, like, there's, like, 25 different camera angles in that game that you can have, including first person if you're a crazy person. But
that's neat.
That's really cool, though.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, and it's just a little 2D motorbike game. Been having a ton of fun with that. That's my bit. That's all I wanted to say. Anybody else have anything they want to touch on?
Actually, yes. Because I just remembered a game that I've been playing recently. It's called The Veil, and it's so unique. So you play a blind princess.
I need to play this. Go on.
It's so... Do you know it?
I saw it on Twitter like a year before it came out and added it to my wish list on Steam and then forgot about it and then noticed it was out during the most recent Steam sale.
Please play it and tell me how easy it is for you. Because you play as a blind princess, and basically there are no visuals to the game. So you have a black background and then like... I don't know, blue sparkle flying around, but you don't need this. It's just atmospheric, whatever. So I actually got out a blindfold. You can play with a controller. So I lean back my chair, put on the blindfold, headphones, take the controller, and everything's narrated. So even if you go to the game menu, it says game menu, options, controller settings, and so on. Or then it says press down to access whatever, your inventory, your backpack. And it's a fantasy RPG, I'd say. So you run around in this world, and obviously you don't see anything, but you have to follow like the sounds of water because you're out in the forest and you have to get some water. And then you hear that river, and you have to face your character in the way and then walk there. And then you've got another person with you, and there's combat where you have a shield and a sword, and you have to, press the right buttons and also hold that shield in the right direction, depending from where the attack is coming. And then you can hear different sounds for this is a heavy attack, this is a multiple hits in a quick succession, or it's coming from the left, or I don't know what. And then you go to a town, for example, and you're bombarded with all these sounds, like you've got music, and that means that the tavern is over there. You hear metal clonking, and that is probably the blacksmith. And then you've got a beggar over there, and I don't know, a church bell. And it's just, for me, it's really cool. It's very unique. It's super fun, but it's also so difficult because sometimes I just don't know where the sounds are coming from because I only have stereo headphones. And then I have trouble finding where the sounds are coming from. It's really funny, actually. But yeah, it's super, super cool.
Interesting.
Amazing.
Yeah, I like I said, I saw a couple tweets about it, and then I added it to my wish list with like the other 700 games on my wish list, and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I want to say it won something at the Game Awards, which reminded me that it existed again. I was like, oh, did that come out? And then I never looked. And then it got nominated for something. I don't think it won anything. But I know it got
actually
nominated.
No idea.
For me, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, and I'm just gonna chuck that on my to-do list for this week, and I'll play some of it. Talk about it next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds really intriguing.
It was nominated for innovation in accessibility.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead, FG.
For me, that sounds like a perfect game for a Switch because you don't have to sit at your computer.
You need stereo headphones, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, you need headphones for it. That's the problem. but like because you don't need to look at the screen, right? So
Yeah, not at all.
I was gonna say it seems like the perfect game for VR.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
that
it sounds like
too, yeah.
VR Lite.
Because like
Yeah.
you can put yourself in that and you see the sparkles or whatever, like the little because they have like clouds and things that like warp around on the screen. But yeah, that would just be like an isolation chamber situation.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
No, absolutely, yeah.
play that in virtual desktop. I don't have a VR headset, but
Yeah, no, that was super impressive.
anything else we want to touch on before we move to news?
I have a guilty pleasure game I can talk about, sort of guilty pleasure.
Sure.
I bought a game that most people are probably going to put down in about a week or so. I bought
Vampire
Rainbow Six
Survivors.
No,
Oh.
I bought Rainbow Six Extraction actually, and I got Lex to play it too, and we've played together for a little bit, and we've played with the third person. TLDR, basically, there's suddenly this weird, creepy alien fungus that pops up on Earth with like aliens, and you have to clear maps and complete objectives on the map. So it's purely PvE, but it uses all the characters from Six Siege. So a lot of the operators and that sort of stuff, and a lot of their abilities, like, you know, like the spy cams that you have and the little drones and how you can like reinforce walls and shoot through walls and that sort of stuff. And it's hard by doing it alone, but it's doable because you can progress slowly. It's difficult to do actually as two people, I've noticed, because they up the amount of enemies, but you don't have enough people to cover all the angles. So you kind of need 3 people. It's best played with 3 people. Like you can only do 1 to 3 players. But it's been fun for like a, you know, I will just shoot aliens type thing. It's actually harder than one would assume for a purely PvE game.
Can I just say that sometimes I wish our time zones were closer together so we could play these sorts of things together more easily.
Oh, did you play it too?
No, but I do like playing these things, but then I just never have anyone to play with. And
That's all
Like,
co-op
see-
games for me. And
Yeah,
then
like,
whenever
I
I want to get into any
Yeah.
kind of co-op thing, it's just like everybody's already finished it. It's like, man.
I mean, we have time on the weekends theoretically.
Weekends? What are those? This is my weekend.
Well, yeah, but that's because you choose to have Fridays off. Off, quote unquote.
Offline-ish.
Yeah, ish, exactly. Yeah.
But
But yeah, you should just hit us up, Jess. There we go.
I think that we should jump into a break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about news, if that works for everybody.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
So
There's lots to talk about.
we will be right back after a few short messages. And yeah, there's a lot of things in the news. It's going to be a big one. All right. We'll be back in a couple.
Hello, I am Sui. I am a part-time streamer on Twitch, part of the lovely Halcyon Frequency, and I am also a full-time student. I stream primarily wholesome-y kind of indie games with, you know, slice of life, RPG, all that good stuff. And you can follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Suey, Suwey.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to this here episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, featuring myself, Blind IRL, 2D Curie, FG Squared, and Wood Jess. And we continue on with another episode of everybody's favorite show, The Great Acquisitions. So who's buying who this week?
Well,
It feels like it, huh?
Yeah, and we're going to get more of them. Like, before I even talk about this, like, Jeff Knightley's been out there stating, like, right after this one that just happened, this isn't the last one, there's more coming. So I think I would like to take this opportunity to announce to everybody that Halcyon Frequency has been purchased by Google, which has been purchased by Tencent, which has been purchased by Microsoft. So we're all part of this now. It's all
Microsoft now, yeah.
fake
yeah.
news. Anyway, Sony bought Bungie.
Absolute mental. Like, How did that happen?
The strange thing is why are they buying, this little indie studio that like makes games for the Mac? Like they made Marathon, they made Myth, they made that top-down strategy game called Halo, I think, that was announced. And did that come out?
Yeah, 1 or 2 or 10 different versions of that.
Really?
Is what I've heard.
I thought that got canceled.
Yeah, I think so.
That was originally a game for the Mac. It was originally an RTS. True story. Anyway, all that aside, they don't own Halo anymore. That's Microsoft stuff. But Sony purchased Bungie, makers of Destiny and pioneers in the console FPS space, and now currently pioneers in the live game space. This is weird, but also kind of good news for fans of Bungie, from what I can tell, because Sony has pretty blatantly stated that they're going to let them operate independently and continue to self-publish their games on all platforms, or game, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Maybe games now that they actually have like a backing again.
It could become games, but Sony's made it pretty clear that the reason they've purchased Bungie isn't to make them make single-player games, which is what Sony is known for. Sony is known for throwing a whole ton of money and making a God of War. They make a Horizon Zero Dawn. They throw a whole bunch of money into a big marquee single-player expensive game that sells well, right? What Sony doesn't have a lot of skill in and what they don't have a lot of expertise in is ongoing live games. So they've made it pretty clear that the reason they're purchasing Bungie, and with the intent to keep talent around, which I'll touch on in a second, is for their live game space. I don't know. Does anybody here want to say anything about Bungie at all?
I was just actually the point that you were alluding to. I would just touch upon how they're very, 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 very on top of keeping talent around, pretty much giving everybody a bonus with this acquisition.
Yeah. Reporting from SkillUp. I'm just going to kind of read this quote verbatim from SkillUp's Twitter. Sony are so keen to lock in Bungie's talent that they are giving an average of $1 million per staff member in long-term retention incentives.
That is so crazy.
It's
it's obviously top-heavy, right? It's not like, a little Joe Schmo that's responsible for, I don't know, net code, whatever, is getting $1 million. But even, everybody that stays is getting a bonus, and that's pretty
interesting.
That's interesting also, and good, I think.
I imagine it's probably, when they say long-term incentives, what they mean is that, like, if you stay, every year that you stay, you're going to get, like, $200,000 added onto your salary, and, like, year 2, you'll get another 200, year 3, you'll get another 200, year 4, you'll get another 200, and then year 5, you're going to get your last 200 and maybe some stock.
So it's not in one go, you think?
Yeah, because I know Amazon,
no.
Amazon does this sort of stuff, and, like, some other companies tend to have long-term incentive bonuses like that, where they just pay out on top of a salary, like a big bonus over multiple years.
Sounds like a great deal to me, actually.
Yeah, right?
Hey, Twitch, you want to give it? But yeah,
you know what? Talking about that, they're trying. Though, I mean, there was that leaked blog post
that
then doesn't exist anymore, but never mind.
Yeah. Well, they're trying for people, just not people as famous as us, just people more famous than us. Anyway, I think that this is really interesting because, like, Bungie is a studio with a very weird past. Like, I was kind of joking about that earlier, but like they started off as a Mac developer making strategy games. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Myth or Marathon, but like they made strategy games on the Mac, and then were acquired by Microsoft, and Microsoft asked them to make their strategy game Halo, which was originally announced by Steve Jobs for the Mac for this new project that they were making called the Xbox. And they made quite a few of those for the Xbox. They were very successful. And then Bungie retained or went independent again. They bought their independency back from Microsoft and lost Halo in the process because Microsoft was forming 343 Productions, or 343 Industries, I think is the name of the studio, which has gone on to make Halo 5 and 6 and now Infinite. And so they were forming that. And so a lot of people from Bungie who wanted to continue working on Halo left Bungie at that point and joined 343. Bungie then went off and started creating Project Destiny, which became Destiny. They got an Activision publishing deal. The weird thing about the Activision publishing deal, because there was a couple of lawsuits that came out around Activision a number of years after this that displayed the actual details of that publishing deal, where Bungie needed to make certain dates for their updates and for the release schedule of Destiny 1. And if they missed those dates, Activision would acquire parts of the studio as payment. So Activision was slowly taking over control of Bungie while they kept missing their due dates on this, which is actually kind of freaky. Anyway, Bungie got out of that deal and then made Destiny free to play, and they've been completely independent without a publisher, self-publishing for the last, I think, 3 years now. So this, to me, I don't play Destiny. I have no interest in Destiny.
Same.
But everybody that I know who plays Destiny is either neutral to ecstatic about this, because it means that ideally morale would go up because everybody's getting bonuses and they get to remain an independent actor just under the Sony umbrella, which is kind of cool.
It does sound really good for them.
Yeah.
Seems like a good opportunity for everybody.
But do we want to talk about Worms?
That was something.
Yeah, that was.
We should disclose our relationships with Team 17 before we go into this topic, I think.
So before NFTs were a thing, Halcyon Frequency has actually worked closely together with Team 17, especially for their 25th Worms anniversary the year before.
2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago now, we did a 8-hour-long marathon
2020,
stream of
right?
Worms.
That was that long ago?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a sponsored event where we ran their 25th anniversary streams for Worms. And it was great fun. It was a good event. They were great. But they announced, and did they walk these back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
After severe backlash.
They announced and then almost immediately walked back Meta Worms NFTs. I'll be completely honest. I saw this one pop up and just kind of looked at it, rolled my eyes, and closed the article. That was the extent of the acknowledgement of this story I did. Then I saw other developers, specifically the devs of Going Under, threw up a very colorful message condemning Team 17.
They were not amused, yeah.
And I just want to echo something that I've seen from them among other developers that have been published and worked with Team 17. Don't go after any of the community managers. Don't yell at anybody. Don't be mean to anybody, because all of this stuff comes from the top, and basically everybody else doesn't like it whenever this stuff happens. It's just kind of more bandwagoning on easy money.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's all it really is.
As far as I know, as what I've heard from people reporting, this entire project kind of got announced, but there were no details. Everything was super in shambles on the Discord. They were yeah, we'll have a roadmap for you soon, TM, about how this all is going to work and that sort of stuff. It seemed like a very not well thought out decision and announcement. More maybe almost I want to say maybe it was a way of testing the waters. They didn't put much thought in it. They were just but what about NFTs? Let's see what people think. And then it was 36 hours later, oh, people are not happy. Let's just not bother.
So a stunt?
Yeah, almost. Even it's which I guess is better than people running off with the NFT money, like that Minecraft thing that you were talking about.
Yeah, I can mention that. There was a unofficial Minecraft NFT project called Blockverse, where you would get a randomly generated Minecraft character. Because, if you've ever made a Minecraft character, there's a billion combinations that you can make, right? They sold 10,000 unique NFTs that were associated with specific Minecraft character models for a server. And to anybody who's ever tried to run a server for Minecraft before, it uses a lot of memory, right? Imagine trying to run one for 10,000 people, especially 10,000 people that just spent like thousands of dollars on these individual characters. Anyway, when they launched the actual server itself, the thing crashed and refused to come back online. And then after 3 days of this, they shut the whole thing down and vanished with over $1 million in Ethereum. Not to mention that this is a unofficial thing, not affiliated with Microsoft or Minecraft at all. Blockverse basically just went dark. And after a couple of days, people did some digging, and they found the founders of this thing, and they basically turned around and said, "Hey, no, we're definitely going to bring it back. We're working on finding some professionals who've worked in this space, who know what they're doing." And long story short, nothing's come back. They've more or less ran off with the money. I mean, if in a lot of cases with this stuff, it's either it sells really well and not a lot happens, or it doesn't and not a lot happens. And I think the issue is you have a lot of people, the people that are participating in this aren't necessarily people who play games. The people who are participating in this are people who have a lot of money to burn and think that this is a good investment. And in some instances it might be, but some people made money on Beanie Babies. Everybody else just ended up with a lot of Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, NFTs are just the Beanie Babies of the 2020s, and that's just how that's a very, very, very apt comparison.
It's a weird nightmare. I don't know. It all just kind of makes me roll my eyes, really.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that made me roll my eyes, anybody remember Hyperscape?
No.
I remember the Twitch general emotes that you got from, I don't know, was it cheering? I don't know.
Oh, that's where I know the name.
You got them. You got them from drops, and I want to say also cheering 200 bits.
I think it was cheering.
Anyway, Hyperscape is a sci-fi battle royale game published by Ubisoft.
It was.
Still is. You can still play it. Which then later removed the battle royale portion. I mean, it was still in there, but they added in a PvP, a deathmatch mode, and then promoted that as the main mode. And
I didn't even know that.
Fan theory on the Discord was because there wasn't enough people to populate the battle royale mode. So, which I think is accurate. Anyway, they're shutting it down. If you've hit a certain level cap, you will be getting all of the in-game cosmetics and upgrades. So if anybody wants to go play that, if you have played it at all, you'll get everything. The kind of saddest part about this is when I heard about this, I jumped into the official Discord because it's easy to find. And there's 18,000 people in that Discord. Nobody was really talking about it. There was 3 people that were like, hey, anybody want to set up a game before it shuts down? So I think that to me was the game that kind of showcased that not everything with the word battle royale in it is going to succeed, because there were elements of that game that were cool. It had a lot of really weird abilities and some neat ideas and some cool level design, but it was that and the planet side battle royale that just kind of glued into my brain that it's not a good thing.
Was Hyperscape ever free to play, or was it paid?
Yeah, it was a free game.
Oh.
I want to say originally it was buy a founder's pack for the first 3 months or something, but yeah, it was a free to play game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I never got into it. I think I watched one person try it out for a sponsored thing, I think, at the time. And they never touched the game again after they did their sponsored segment. So that kind of says everything. I guess if you have a, dedicated FPS, mostly FPS streamer, try out your game for 2 hours and then never touch it again. That kind of says it all.
Yeah, I remember that there was a very brief period of time where like every single one of the biggest streamers on Twitch and also on YouTube were all streaming it, and it had hundreds of thousands of viewers. It was like this. What is that? Hyperscape? Huh. The thing I want to know:
Yep.
Do we get to keep the emotes?
Probably, yeah, because they're Twitch.
I would assume so.
Twitch's responsibility.
Hyper cheese
Hey,
will live on.
Hyper cheese, yeah,
Hyper
hyper cheese
cheese.
will live on. I was just going to say that is the one emote that is good from that set, and that shall be remembered.
Some people
The
use Hyper
cheese.
Tiger. It's
Yeah,
just like a red tiger face going. Rrr.
Maybe.
Kind of looks like one of the emblems from BattleTech, which is why I like it. But do we want to talk about this Google Stadia thing? I didn't have time to read the article.
Well, I mean, we can briefly go on it. Apparently, because I mean, it's not like they're shutting it down, right? That's basically not how the article read. It's just that they're kind of rebranding it to Google Stream and like kind of shopping out the services to other people that might want them. So it's more like, we have this tech. Would you like to use this tech? Give us money for it, rather than a Google Stadia is dead. So I guess 100 people in the world will be happy that Google Stadia isn't dead.
I have a question.
Go on.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever played on Google Stadia or knows anybody who has?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I haven't played on it. I have heard Rami talk about Google Stadia, and that's it.
I used Google Stadia while I was in hospital.
Okay.
So the one thing that I will like, the one thing that's real nice about socialized healthcare is you actually have like nice things in hospitals. And one of the things at the hospital that I had when I was in hospital for a week at the beginning of 2020, not COVID related, we had good internet in the room that I was in. And it was fine. And I signed up for a Stadia premium account for 1 month, which was you can play these rotating list of games, not the entire library, just there was like 7 of them. And so I played Assassin's Creed for like 6 hours one day on my phone.
All right.
It looked like watching a YouTube video at 480p that you can control.
Ew.
Ooh.
So it's similar somewhat to, what is it, GeForce Now? It's basically,
Yeah, but worse and more expensive.
but worse. Okay.
It's like, the thing is, like, when Stadia launched, it was kind of the one thing that was really doing that. I mean, there was the PlayStation streaming service, and then there was AntStream as well. AntStream is just for, like, old arcade games and a lot of old PC games. And very cheap and also free in some cases. Try out AntStream if you want to try one of these services. And then there was, I think GeForce Now was like a thing that existed, and then there was the memes of what is cloud gaming from OnLive, which shut down 1 billion years ago, which later got bought by Sony and turned into Gaikai, and then they turned that into the PlayStation Home streaming service, which was for older PlayStation games. That's a different bag of worms, and it never worked very well. So this was like kind of the only game in town, but they kind of killed themselves with their own business model, because who the heck wants to pay extra money for a game that they don't own that they can't even download? But right now, there's just so much competition in this space, and everybody's trying to do it right. I think Google realizes this, that they're not going to win in this space.
No.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to win, it's either going to be GeForce Now, or it's going to be Xbox Cloud, or xCloud, or I guess just part of Game Pass streaming, or whatever they're calling it. And I think that there is a market for this space, but the market wants cross-save. They want the games that they already own. And it makes sense for something like Game Pass, or even if Steam were to do something like this, where it would make sense where you could stream games that you already owned. So, like, you already have your cloud saves. You just pop back in and play on your phone. Like, I would absolutely just, like, I don't know, pop open Trials or Quicker Flack or something on my phone if I could. So, like, there is, like, a market for this kind of service, but the way that Stadia was doing it wouldn't work.
Well,
ever.
it was very, like, niche-y and very, like, I don't know. It was too expensive, too low quality, too tiny selection. Because remember, yes, you had you have Stadia Pro, which I think is now 50 rotating games maybe, but for everything else, you still have to buy the game, and you have to buy it on Stadia, which means you can only play it on Stadia because you can't play it on your PC because it's not in your Steam library, and you know, like,
and if there's no cross saves with other platforms or anything,
That's
so if
ridiculous.
you already own the game
yeah.
and you
I'm
have
not
a save file on
surprised it's
another
not working
platform.
out.
The kind of thing that scared me initially with Stadia was they had during their because I watched that whole presentation, the original pitch presentation that they put out, which was very boring. Don't watch it. But when they did that presentation, they had this one segment which was it's a YouTube ad with an idling character for Assassin's Creed, and then you can start playing the game in the YouTube ad. But they never actually did that. If they'd done that, and they had a better business model, Stadia, in my opinion, might be one of the most used formats for gaming right now. But because they didn't do that, it makes perfect sense to me why this thing failed. Because that could have been like the best possible advertising for their platform. And if they had integration with like even just like EA games and Uplay, where like let's just say you could get FIFA on the thing, done. But they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think right now, talking about the people that are doing it right, and this is not sponsored. GeForce is, I think, probably the leader in the market right now because you have a free tier and you have a paid tier, so you can just use the service and you can just play whatever it's in your library. And
Yeah,
it's
because
cross-save.
you already have those games.
You have the games. It's cross save, and it's free to play. Like you can just use it.
Yeah.
You just have to requeue after an hour.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Only
I've got to
that.
say that I was sponsored by them for 1 month, but I actually tried the service before agreeing to the sponsorship because I didn't want to promote something that just doesn't work. But it does work, and it's really good.
Yeah, I haven't had the chance to try the xCloud stuff yet, which I will have access to in a couple of months, as far as I can tell, because currently xCloud is just on console and doesn't do anything through PC. I do have Game Pass, so I'll try that once it's available. But yeah, I don't. It's a weird. The industry is weird. You know, everybody's getting bought by everybody. Everything's getting consolidated, and everybody's trying to compete in kind of new markets. And I think things are going to look very
Everybody's trying
differently
to
in
make
5
Game
years.
Pass again. Something, yeah. It's we are actually like living right now, like just like industry wise, at a very interesting time. I think is a
Yeah.
there's so much happening, reshuffling, and then Game Pass and all that sort of stuff, just like shaking up everything is interesting. It's going to be
fun
interesting in the
times.
next couple of years. Yeah. Well,
I really like the idea of GeForce Now because I think it, especially with all the shortages we've been having, and it's so hard to upgrade your computer, it just makes it accessible. And then like for a crowd of people who maybe aren't into PC gaming but maybe want to try it, it's there. Like for instance, my mom bored at home with the pandemic, and I was just like, hey, GeForce Now, give it a try. And she never did, but like if she had just taken the step to do it, like she would have suddenly had access to like this whole, like, because she like sometimes watches my streams and is like, I don't understand what's going on, and like what's the deal with games, you know, and just like just try it. And so it's like it just gives that avenue that otherwise would just be cut off for people who weren't active in the gaming community. So I can definitely see the market for it.
Yeah. Anyway, on the topic of weird times, anybody want to answer some questions from the people over on Discord?
sure.
I
Let's
still
have
don't
a
know
why
what
not.
qualifies as weird.
I mean,
Shall we
weird times.
lead?
So, for those of you who don't know, we have a community Discord. If you are listening through a podcast platform and haven't seen it yet, we have a website, halcyonfrequency.com. There's links to the Discord on that website. Just scroll down to the bottom. It's on the bottom left. In that Discord, there is a room called Podcast Questions, where you can ask us questions. They don't have to be about games. They can be about whatever. But we're going to go through and take turns and read some of them. There is one that I have for Kiri and FG here once I scroll up far enough to see it. Who asked this question originally? I'm looking for the usernames question.
The
There it
name
is.
one? Yeah.
So Ascension asks this question, which me and Jess answered on the last episode. But FG and Kiri, you can go in either order you want. What are the origins of your usernames?
You want to go first?
I can go first. Mine is short. Mine is very short. It's based on an old username, and no, I will not tell what that username is. That's it.
Very mysterious.
Very mysterious.
Serious.
Utterly strange.
Or embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
All right, so mine is a bit funny. My actual name is Beate, and as a toddler, I couldn't pronounce that, so I called myself Barty. And then years later, I realized there's this Pacific island state called Kiribati. The thing is, it's not pronounced that. I realized that later. I actually forgot how it's pronounced.
Kiribati, I think.
Yeah, but the way it's spelled, it's like
Yeah, it's
Kiri
Kiribati,
and then
yeah.
Bati. So I thought, oh, that's so cool. It's basically my nickname, just with a Kiri at the front. So I had Kiribati as my user tag, a gaming tag for a while. But then I shortened it to Kiri, and that became kind of a nickname. And when I was thinking about a username for streaming, I thought, what games do I like? What games do I play? And then I just 2D Kiri. That's how it happened. It has nothing to do with the cream cheese, although that is really delicious.
Kiri.
Yeah,
Hashtag
right.
not sponsored.
Oh, if they would sponsor me, though,
That would be so perfect. Yeah, that would be
Yes,
super
I'd
perfect.
love that.
So the next question that we have up here comes in from Audio Coaster. Jess, would you like to read this one?
Do.
The scrolling up game.
Yeah, sure. Thoughts on Expanse?
Xbox Game Pass?
X-Base.
X-Bass. You can fish for it. Okay, anyways, thoughts on Xbox Game Pass, and does it offer enough of the games you like to play? Well, it
So
never
great
works
question for you.
me.
Yeah.
Halfway talked about this already, but I don't know.
I like the idea of it. I really think that it could be a good service, but it's just so shoddily done. It's just halfway there. And some people have no issues with it, and some people have all the issues with it. And even in my own household, for instance, Solentre has a completely different version of the app, which is it's so weird. Like, his version looks different, it behaves differently, and it works flawlessly. And then on my computer, which, like, same version of Windows and everything, I have a completely different UI, and it just
Have you
doesn't
checked
work.
your version number?
Not
Maybe it needs an
not.
update. Because I know
I
the
mean,
UI
I've
on mine
updated it.
changed recently with an update.
I've updated it, and I even changed computers entirely and reinstalled it, and it's still different. So it makes me think that they have like a beta branch or something, maybe, that people can't like opt out of. I don't really know what the explanation for that is. And like, it was working for a while, and then now it's not. So I canceled my subscription because this is like the second time something has just gone terminally wrong with Game Pass for me. And
I mean, Evil
Game
Trick has
Pass.
the same issues as you, right?
Yeah,
Say-
Evil
say that
Trick
again?
wasn't able to play
Yeah.
games for like
Oh.
2 weeks because they all like refused to launch and couldn't re-download and all that.
yeah, it was so weird because it was working just fine. Like, when I was streaming Age of Empires, I had no issues and we were able to play together. And then just one day Game Pass is like, nope, your subscription doesn't work. You don't have a subscription. Oh, you do? But nothing will launch. Okay, we'll try to launch it. Nope, error. And just like just throwing stuff in the air at Game Pass.
So I'm one of those magical people that's never had an issue with it. But then again, I'm also one of those magical people who's never had any issues with like Windows. Like, the most Windows has ever done is like broken my audio setup, and I have a weird audio setup with like 8 different controllers, so it like doesn't really surprise me all that much. So it's like every now and again everything will get reset, and I just have to go through and like click a couple buttons to fix it. But like, to me, Game Pass is a very specific thing because right now it's kind of my Age of Empires subscription, but also comes with a AAA game that I play. So for me, as long as I'm playing one like AAA game that I wouldn't normally buy a month, it's worth it. And I think like none of us own an Xbox, right?
Nope.
I have an Xbox 360.
None of us own an Xbox. Okay. Like an Xbox that runs Game Pass, right? Game Pass, if you have like an Xbox Series X or an Xbox Series S or an Xbox One even, is phenomenal because there is so many more games on it, it's not even funny. Strictly from a PC perspective, I don't think it's worth the money for a normal average user right now. Just for the games it's offering. Unless you are playing like one at least $20 game a month. There is a world where it's the best deal in the world, and that's when you pay $1 for it on the special like thing that happens every so often, which you can get repeatedly and not super frequently, but like once or twice a year you can get them for like 3 months for $1. I think the bigger concern with Game Pass for me is like what it's going to do to the industry in the long run. Is it going to be a benefit to creativity? Is it going to be a negative to creativity? Is it going to be a benefit to everybody? Is it just going to be the place where the people who are owned by Microsoft put their games and nobody else gets to put them there? I think if you can get it for $1, it's a great deal. But if you're only playing on PC, be a little wary, I think. Keep an eye.
I think it's a great deal if you're a person that likes to try out a lot of different games and play them and test them and see if you like them or not. Because basically, if you hit a certain threshold of hours played of games that are on Game Pass, where that threshold is up to the user. Is it 5 hours per month, 10 hours per month, 30 hours per month? You know, if you hit that threshold, then it is worth it. For me personally, I actually haven't had Game Pass since I got it the first time for, you know, where I had the, you know, £1 for a 3-month deal, because not because I think it's bad value, but I prefer to own my games and have them on a storefront and just have them, as much as you can quote unquote own a Steam game, which is, you know, a whole nother
You're buying
topic.
a license to play the game. Anyway.
Yes, it's different, but it's still different because I don't need to have an ongoing subscription to the game to a different service to be able to play the game, right? I prefer that. And I've also had some issues. I tried it for 2 different games. I tried it when Grounded first came out. I played that in multiplayer. That one worked fine. I tried again later on. For when Minecraft Dungeons came out, and that was a mess. Because I had a card, Lex didn't, and we tried to play multiplayer together, and it was a mess. Like, the game wouldn't launch. It was exactly what you had. The game wouldn't launch. It says there was no active subscription. Then it said, you know, game isn't installed, etc., etc. So for me personally, it's currently not worth it. But then I just don't have that many hours to game off stream where I play like games for me, and I already have my time filled with a few games that I have on Steam.
I mean, like, just as an example, FG, that Rainbow Six game that you mentioned briefly, it's on Game Pass. Like,
oh yeah.
In a world like all of the Hitman games are on Game Pass right now. I don't know. It's to me Game Pass is like the biggest. It might be for you, it might not be for you, depending on your situation. Product on the market right now.
Absolutely, I think it's great if you like to test out loads and loads and loads and loads of games and maybe play them for a bit longer than Steam lets you. You know, you can play loads and loads of games, test them for 4 or 5 hours, then put them on your Steam wishes and buy them to keep for quote-unquote ever. I know, whole thing when they're on sale.
Something that I really like that was coined over on the Giant Bombcast relatively recently is It's Thereware, which is, it's not a great game. It's not a bad game, but it's there. Yeah. So I'll play it.
I like it.
I don't need to pay for it because I've already paid for it. And I've stumbled on a few games recently that I would consider thereware. Like, I would never play Rainbow Six Extraction, right? But it's there, and I could download it in an hour or less, probably. It's like I would probably never play Peggle Knights, but I'm looking at it right now, and it's there.
See, that's
I'm downloading Peggle right now.
Yeah. See, that's what you say. That's also, I think, a big issue. It is also a service that is easier to use for people that have fast internet.
Yes.
Because you say, I'll just quickly download this. I'll say, I'll start the download now and play it tomorrow. And yeah, I don't know.
And that
like,
never happens?
I can't test out many games just in an afternoon or evening to find what I want to play until I move in 3 weeks. New internet hype. But anyways,
this leads back into the topic that we had earlier about like streaming services, right? Because like once they have xCloud operating on PC Game Pass, you won't need to do that theoretically because you could just try it with the click of a button, right?
True.
So, like,
which makes it more attractive, I think, actually.
Yeah, and like another example is like I was playing Remnant from the Ashes on Game Pass with a friend of mine who bought it on Steam, and he was like, "You want to play Remnant?" I'm like, "I don't own that," and I looked it up. It's on Game Pass, and I downloaded it, and we played like 2 hours of it, and then I deleted it. And I'll never play that game again. But it was there.
Yep.
Also,
yeah, I mean, I would say like just kind of edit what I said before. Beyond my like recent frustrations with it, I have enjoyed Game Pass because I sort of consider it like a demo service. Like I'm paying a low price because I usually pick it back up when there's a promotion. So I'm paying a very low price to be able to demo very expensive games. So that's how for instance, CK3, I first tried it and was like, I don't know about this game. Like, it looks cool. I don't know if it's for me. Tried it on Game Pass and was like, yes, this game is absolutely for me. I would have never given this a try on Steam because I wouldn't buy it. And that was an opportunity. And same with Age of Empires. Like, I wasn't sure I'd like that one either. And I had the opportunity to demo it. So I look at it like the opportunity to demo. And then you can just delete and move on. Thereware. Just move on with your life.
I do think it needs to be said, though. It's almost already a monopoly when it comes to the subscription service game model. Be wary about corporations. This is not sponsored. I wouldn't say that this is an endorsement. And I have a feeling that there probably will be a point where I drop it. As nice as the service is, it's one of those services that scares me. So that's kind of my take on that.
Consolidation is something that we spoke about a lot today.
Yeah, that's something we're going to be talking about a lot for the next 6 months, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kiri, would you like to take this question from Prismatic Flux?
Yes. What is your go-to snack? So for me, that's a muesli bar. I love those.
What's that?
Like a
granola
cereal bar.
Cereal
bar?
Granola bar?
Yeah.
Cereal bar with dried fruits and maybe sometimes chocolate in it.
Okay.
Healthy stuff. Easy to eat during a stream break.
This is a hard question for me because I'm a bit of a stoner. What's my go-to snack?
What is my go-to snack?
What is in my fridge that I can grab?
That was my answer. You can't steal my answer.
But I don't know. I like a lot of stuff. I like salty stuff. I like sweet stuff. Let's go with healthy things. Dried mango is really nice.
Oh, that's so good.
Stuff's expensive here.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
That's why when we buy it, we buy like the 2 kilogram bags because they are the cheapest. But it's very expensive, yes.
Do you buy it at Costco?
I don't think we have. I think there's like 3 Costco in the country here. No, we order it on Amazon.
I'm still waiting for my Costco sponsorship.
Just give you a lifetime membership. I mean, like, kind of easy answer aside, I almost always try to have some sort of almonds around or cashews.
Oh, cashews are nice.
Cashews are good.
And I'm
They're the best.
Yeah.
And in the summer especially. So I live in a part of town that's very overgrown. And in the summer, I will just go pick blackberries like every 3 days and just have like 15 kilograms of blackberries by the end of it over the span of the entire summer. Because I have a bucket that I fill up that it's about a kilo, because I weigh it when I get home. And I freeze them throughout the summer. So I almost always have frozen blackberries around. I'm
That's
almost
amazing.
out.
That's really cool.
So I guess that's my go-to snack. Although often it goes in my oatmeal in the morning.
Mine, I think, would have to be whatever's on hand. I like salty things, but if we're talking, I also like sweet things a lot. I have quite the sweet tooth. But if we're talking healthy, dehydrated apples or apple chips, which you can buy in bulk at Costco, or you can make them yourself. Which apples that you buy in bulk at Costco? You see what I mean? Where's my sponsorship?
You need it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could buy this next one from Costco, but FG, do you want to take this question from Cutest Ghost?
Sure. Considering that I in particular, and I think Kiri also got called out.
What?
That we can't go with our go-to answers. What is your
I
favorite?
haven't been called out.
It says owls too, so that's you.
I don't
isn't
care
it?
about owls.
No, that was from the last episode.
Things.
That was from the last episode, I think, because I said I love owls.
Ah.
I see.
No, that's not
well,
me.
Then, okay, I thought so because you have all the owl things.
Yeah, because I once told my family I like owls, but
There's-
not as in my favorite animal, and then I got everything with
There's
owls.
literally an owl in the shot behind your camera right now.
Yeah, but,
True, yeah.
but that's heavy. That doesn't count.
Still an owl.
But the question is,
Not my
Cutest
favorite. Yeah,
Ghost-
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Cutest Ghost would like to know, what is your favorite wild animal? Besides otters, because otters are best.
So what is it if it's not otters?
So I actually thought that this is normally I don't really prepare and think about answers before for these questions, but I actually thought about this one because I really abhorred saying my favorite X or my top 10 or whatever because I like things for different reasons. But all right, I like wolves because they're cool. They're just cool animals. And axolotls are pretty cute.
Yeah, they are.
That's my answer. I think.
I'm going to allude to the next question with my answer, and steal a Gojira lyric. Gojira, great band. I've seen them live twice now, and I would like to see them a third time. But they have a song, and there's a lyric in one of these songs, which is just whales. So whales.
Whales are pretty impressive.
Whales are amazing. Specifically blue whales, but orcas and killer whales are beautiful as well, and I've seen them a number of times around here.
Nice.
Love whales.
So my favorite... Sorry.
Go ahead.
My favorite wild animal are meerkats. They're adorable.
Timon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan,
I love watching
sorry.
them in the zoo.
They are pretty cute.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite because I also hate picking favorites of anything, really. I just don't. Too fickle for that, I guess. I actually just kind of am taking an easy answer and saying that I like it all. I don't know. I have a background as a biologist and like a conservation background, and so I'm like, all the animals are cool and they're all really important to the ecosystem, and you can't pick one because if you remove one, you break everything. So that's my spiel.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna read this next question from Arch Plays Stuff, and they say, "Who has the weirdest taste in music?"
Yeah, so I'm gonna go first. I love listening to Christmas music all year round because it makes me happy.
That's pretty weird.
Right? I thought you'd say that, or somebody would say that.
I mean,
I like lots of genres, but I do not like metal. And that's probably also very weird because usually people like it.
it's not that weird. Lots of people don't like metal. It's an acquired taste.
It's noisy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I listen to a bajillion genres of music. I don't really do favorite bands. I just jump from song to song, and that can literally go from here's some K-pop, there's some EDM. Oh, how about a shanty? Oh, let's have an instrumental piece. Let's go and listen to some pop songs. Like, I kind of just go wherever my mood takes me. Generally excluded is usually, I guess, hip-hop. Also, a lot of the, like, the heavier side of metal. Like, melodic metal is fine. But, like, you know, like, the heavy stuff where you kind of...
Like, you know, the suffocation and Cannibal Corpse kind of stuff, right?
Like, well, yeah, where we have, like, a lot of growling. I don't like the growling. I don't like that. I don't like growlcore and that sort of stuff. And I don't like it when it becomes, like, sort of... Like, when there's no melody.
So what you're saying is Sabaton is a go, Cattle Decapitation is a no.
Yeah, sort of. Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I would go with that, so to speak. It's not my go-to, but I would not run away and be like, "Oh my god, this is terrible music. I hate it."
Just out of curiosity, does anybody else here know any of the bands I've mentioned in the last 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I've heard of Sabaton.
Okay, just checking. Just want to make sure people have a general idea of what I'm referencing here. Cattle Decapitation, fantastic band, by the way. Go on, Jess. You go.
I was gonna say that I can just say me too. Everything FG said. Even when it comes to metal, I like it, but like as soon as you're getting into growling, as soon as you're getting into like chugging and just sound, like I don't know, it
becomes very noisy.
Yeah.
So I think I would be cheating in a lot of cases if I were to just start name dropping things. So I will just say what I personally think is the weirdest artist I listen to, and we'll let the audience decide. Soviet France with a Z. Like Soviet France, but with a Z. Just go. They're not on Spotify, but you can find their stuff on YouTube. Harsh noise.
Yeah, that would be like a immediate no from me, because that just, it's not that I'm like, oh my god, this is not music. This is terrible. These people are not talented, because they can play their instruments and whatnot. It's just triggers in me a feeling of anxiety and uncomfortableness.
I get that too.
Absolutely understand.
There's one other artist I would like to mention, and that is Girl Band, which is they play all of their instruments wrong and their singer sings out of tune, but it is some of the greatest rhythmic whatever I don't even know music that you've ever heard. But Soviet France wouldn't trigger like a anxiety. Soviet France is more just like weird noisy soundscapes. But
yeah, no, that is exactly what triggers uncomfortableness in me. Like there were certain
it's hard to explain.
there are certain scenes in the clubs in Cyberpunk, for example, which is mostly like EDM music and that sort of stuff. And that music gives me the same feeling of anxiousness.
You're thinking of more like the punk noise then, which would be like what's the name of that band that did that song? I like that song a lot. Welcome to the Cyber City thing.
I don't know. It's just the heavy bass, and then like the I don't know. There's just something.
There's no drums in Soviet France.
That familiar with that stuff. I have to say.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. Anyway, if you would like to ask us questions, it's the podcast questions room on the Halcyon Frequency Community Discord. If you would like to find that room or that Discord, you can find that on our website, halcyonfrequency.com. I think that's just wrapping up. Anything else we want to say? Just wrap up?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Please leave us reviews on iTunes. Thank you.
Yeah, the podcast is available on anywhere that you anywhere theoretically that you listen to podcasts. And if it's not where you listen to podcasts, yell at me, Blind IRL, on Discord, or tweet at me if I check that. And I will find that platform and make the podcast show up there, hopefully. Otherwise, it's available on all of your mainstream platforms like Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes. iTunes reviews are like pulling teeth, but if you want to do us a solid, leave us a review on iTunes. Doesn't even need to be about the show as long as it says 5 stars, because that's the very important part. We do have a few reviews already, and we are the #1 video game podcast in Honduras. So shout outs.
That should be our tagline. That should be our tagline.
Someone already said we should put that on a t-shirt.
No, absolutely. Like next time, go, hello, welcome to the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, the #1 video game podcast in Honduras. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, we were
so
like
good.
We were the 200th most popular one on iTunes for a minute, but we already lost that ranking. So, I think now is an opportunity for everybody to shout themselves out. So let's just start with Kiri, because her camera is next to mine. You shout yourself out and tell people where to find you.
Yeah. Hi. So you can find me on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Patreon as 2D Kiri. Super easy to find, and I stream 5 days a week, Sundays to Thursdays, strategy games, and that stuff. It's cool. Stop by.
Jess, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Jess, whoa Jess, with an underscore in some places, because once again, consistency. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Patreon, places, and I also stream a lot of strategy, simulation management, Mondays through Thursdays. Yeah, cool.
Hey, FG.
Yeah. Hi, FG Squared here. FG Squared everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, except on Twitter. On Twitter, there's a sneaky underscore between the FG and the squared because somebody's still squatting on that username 10 years later. Am I bitter? Slightly. And I play a wide variety of mostly indie games, sometimes a little bit AAA stuff in there as well. And I'm live Mondays through Fridays at 9 a.m. GMT.
You know, your promo started off almost like a Dr. Seuss bit. You were like, FG there, FG there, FG squared is in my hair. Anyway, I'm Blind IRL. You can find me at Blind IRL on Twitter or Blind IRL on Twitch, as well as Blind IRL on Patreon. I don't really tweet much these days, but you could follow me there. However, I think it's much more important that you go over to our website, halcyonfrequency.com, and if you click on the Twitch button, it'll just give you the team page, and you'll just see all of us right there. It's very convenient. But thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, and you will hear us next Sunday. So hit that follow thing or whatever you do on podcasts, subscribe to the RSS feed, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.